This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now we learn about food labeling with Dwayne Toews and Tamika Sims.
Dwayne Toews joining you once again here on AGAM in Kansas, and an opportunity to catch up with Tamika Sims with the International Food Group and talk a little bit about your organization and what the goals are, Tamika.
Sure. So the International Food Information Council, or we like to call it IFIC for short, is an organization that's focused on science communication directed toward the consumer. So actually, how we get insights from the consumer, one way is from our Food and Health Survey. I'll be sharing today at the meeting some insights from our 2018 data from our Food and Health Survey, which was our 13th year. 2019 will bring us into our 14th year of doing the Food and Health Survey, where we gather information from consumers about their perceptions about nutrition, food safety, food production, and also sustainability.
We've heard a lot of discussions at the conference that you and I attended about consumers and what do they know about food labels and what do they want to know about their food. I suspect there's a bit of a chasm between what we think and what they know.
Yeah, definitely. I think over time what we've seen is that the consumer has evolved quite a bit more into being people that want to know more about their food. They want to understand where their food comes from. They want to understand the ingredients on the label. However, they want the ingredient list to be short. And so that can be quite simple. But that's hard for the food producers. So consumers are searching for simplicity and understanding. And so as people who produce the food, you have to try to meet the consumer somewhere and get that information out to them. We've also seen that there are certain types of labels that are popular among consumers, one of them being natural. I'm not really sure what unnatural food is, but the natural label happens to be a very popular label among consumers. It's more popular than organic, but of course organic is a popular label as well. We also see consumers searching for a pesticide-free label, which is not something you see very often, but we asked consumers and it was among the top 3 labels that they're searching for. So again, there's an evolution happening as far as the consumer wanting to know more. Someone yesterday spoke about being in the age of the internet, and we definitely are there. We're in the throes of it. And so producers and farmers and ranchers have to use the internet to their advantage in order to reach consumers and give them this information that they're hungry for, no pun intended.
We talk about labels and marketing sometimes. Is there concern about truth in advertising, so to speak, that we're actually providing information or just gimmicks to try and get purchases done?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's some concerns there. I think that for sure, it's kind of like products have to be a part of the conversation, just like the people producing the product. So unfortunately, we're in an age of labels. And so it's like, if you don't use the label, do you want someone to think that, oh, well, because you don't have this label, does that mean that your product is subpar in some way? And that's unfortunate. That could be the chain of thinking for the consumer. But at the same time, if you have the space on your label to put another certification there to assert the quality and the care that's put into producing your product, I say you might want to think about using it.
Now, obviously, with your program and organization, it's international in focus. Do you see differences between areas of the world and how consumers perceive their food?
Yes, certainly. I mean, we have sister organizations in Europe and Brazil and China, and of course, the market in all those places is definitely different than in the United States. One thing for sure is just the perception of the use of bioengineered ingredients and products. Many of us are very familiar with the European stance on bioengineered foods, and it's very different than what's been happening in the U.S. I mean, over here, we're trying to I feel like I've seen FDA and USDA supporting innovation, and recently USDA AMS came up with their labeling regulation just as a marketing and informational tool to label products, just to it's not about safety, it's not about quality, or nutrition. It's just about a way to make the consumer aware. And I think that that's the road that we all have to travel. We have to be more transparent, and hopefully transparency will help negate some of these feelings or ideas of the using of innovation in food production is somehow a bad thing.
Our thanks to Tamika Sims joining us here on AGAM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Dwayne. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
About 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulders sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better and didn't get better. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio. Got down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30, the procedure was all over, and it just kept getting better and better. And within 6 weeks, I was back digging post holes and doing the other hard work that I'd been doing before the accident. And I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.